Hello, family. Welcome to Thriving Couples by the Dindies,
The
place where we keep marriage real, fun, and fulfilling. Yeah, we're your hosts, Keith
and Esther
and
Dindi.
Esther Dindi. And today we've got a very exciting episode lined up for you. We are talking about money.
Money matters.
Kaching. We've actually titled this one, Is Your Money Married? So we're going to be discussing the various aspects of how money can affect the relationship in a positive or negative way. And I know you're going to love it. So today we'll be talking about money. Money matters. There was a study that was done a few years ago, about 3 years ago, that showed that actually now money problems have overtaken infidelity as being the primary cause of divorce worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So money issues are causing more marriages to go separate ways than any other thing. And so we thought probably as we begin this series, it would be nice to talk about money. Many people are very uncomfortable when you start talking money, but the truth is money affects relationships. And there are some relationships that are purely based on money. We call them transactional relationships. So today we are going to be discussing that. We'll share our story, what our journey has looked like in terms of finances. But why do you think money is such a thorny issue in relationships?
I'd start by saying that, of course, money is very important. I have one of my brothers who says it's right there up next to oxygen. Well, that might be a stretch, but money is important just mainly because it answers needs. And of course, the lack of it or the abuse of it can cause a lot of strain in the relationship. Lack of money can cause problems just because you're not able to answer needs, and the stress itself can also affect, just the stress of not being able to meet school fees, paying rent and all those things can actually affect the relationship. So everyone wants to have enough to meet their basic needs and some to, enjoy a few luxuries, but we know it's not always forthcoming. And so in the area of finances, a couple has to agree, and if they're not agreeing, there's going to be a problem because bills have to be paid, people have to school, people have to travel around, whether going to work or doing other things. So even as a married couple, there are needs that are there that need money. And if you're not answering them as a couple, there's going to be a tension. If one person feels that the other one is misusing the money or spending in ways that are secretive, those things can still cause a lot of tension, and so it can be a source of distrust, and that's where money can bring problems in the marriage, the lack of it or just the misuse of it.
And I think now that I like this other topic, one of the things I've
Which
noticed,
is this other topic?
especially for men, sometimes even the ego,
vitality,
yes, and the powers that can be affected by the state of our pocket. Just because psychologically, men, we feel that sense of well-being, that sense of being in control, that is related to our ability to provide. And so when we're not able to, for whatever reason, things can also go quiet in the bedroom. So I've had a few, we do counseling for couples, and there are some couples when the financial issues check in, matters in the bedroom also go cold. So actually money issues can be seen in many other areas. Sometimes there are problems that people have. The root issue is at the money point, but it's then manifested. Someone is stressed, so you start having trouble in other areas as well.
The trouble can also arise if one feels disrespected. So let's just be honest. Across the genders, men or husbands will feel, more vulnerable if they don't feel like they are capable to provide as much. So it's like the role of providing for the family feels primarily, not that it should be, but it feels primarily as the man's role because, right from Genesis, it's like man was there with work and the ability to provide. So if that is lacking, of course, it can affect his ego. And sometimes if the wife is not wise, then can also come out as disrespectful, even probably it's not, but one can feel insecure. So it's an area that the couple has to tread carefully and be sensitive to each other and see how to still tread through seasons where things are not working out well in the financial area and be able to maintain respect.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. Being sensitive to each other, and a wise wife knowing how.
Like me.
Yeah, because this is really at the core of manhood, our ability to provide for our families. That a lot of men, you almost feel like you're defined by your ability to provide for your family, and so when there are troubles in that area, as a man, it can really take away the oomph, like the wind from your sails. And so, just having a partner that can walk with you, that would be understanding. It's interesting, especially in today's world, especially in our country here in Kenya. It said, mapenzi ni pesa. So people have started equating
That's
love.
really transactional.
Yeah, love and money. So there are people who have now put it at a very transactional level, so that even the very beginning of the relationship is based on somebody's ability to provide in a certain way. So you hear a young lady saying, I'm looking for a mubaba, someone who will provide for my needs, and moving away from really the definition of marriage as a covenant between man and wife and God. And
Yes.
so it's very important to have that right perspective, because once you have that foundationally, then you're able to deal with resource issues as they come by.
And so I would argue that really having money as the foundation of marriage, that's very shaky. As much as it's important, it should not be the very foundation. So if you're starting off just based on money, there's so many other things that are challenges that you're going to face in front here, as Kenyans would say, apa mbele.
Yes.
that are going to
because
cause
money
a lot of-
comes and money goes.
Yeah.
We in our own life, our story is interesting, because when we began our relationship in college, I was a second year student when I proposed to a girl here, and I was really
Without
broke.
a ring.
Yeah, I didn't even have money to buy the ring, so I proposed without a ring, and I was truly broke. I was actually shocked that she said yes. I think she really saw deep. We usually say
Discernment.
gold in these jars of clay. I think she dug deep in the clay and saw something nice in there. But yes, so we began our relationship. We didn't have much of resource, but I think in the place, what we lacked in our pockets, we really abundant in terms of our mindset, in terms of the depth of our character, and the depth of our commitment.
Yeah.
And so we knew that this is just momentary. I think when we started our relationship and we were attracted to each other, there were aspects of character there that were so dear that we felt money will come. And so I remember...
And it's coming. It's been coming slowly. It's coming.
Yes. Yeah, saizi imekuja, but still there's a journey where we're going. But I remember those early days, immediately after we got married, and we started working, but the government was not keen to pay us. So 1 month down the line, 2 months, 5 months,
Up to
6 months, the government had decided it will not pay us. And so it was tough. Living day to day, wondering what are we going to eat next. And I remember, especially as a man, I would be thinking, it's my role, the way my dad raised me is such that as a man, you have to know where your family will get sustenance. And so it was stressful for me, just not knowing how is my family going to eat. And then slowly moving on to points where money started coming in. And I remember someone saying, when money comes in, you will notice that your spouse will change. And there's something we like saying that poverty is just a cloak. Sometimes poverty just hides. It's a cloak that hides the real character. Then when money comes in, it unveils, it removes the cloak of poverty, and then you see who someone truly is.
So it really reveals who one truly is.
Yes. So people don't change at all. I think when money comes, the cloak of poverty moves away and you're able to see who somebody truly is. But I remember when the resources came, We still remained as we've always been, very simple, people in love. But can you just talk about some of the ways in which we handle our resources and what we've learned along the way over the last 18 years in terms of how we handle money?
One, I would say that the money we get is our money. My money is our money in this marriage. His money is our money. So when we got married, we just agreed that we're going to be bringing our resources together. And of course, in this regard, sometimes people wonder, do you have a joint account or not? We've both been employed at different times. And so we still have our personal accounts and we have a joint account. But regardless of which account the money, and we have even business accounts, regardless of the channel through which the money comes, it's all our money. So what we sit and budget on the money that we have, and of course at the beginning of the year we sit down, take time away, plan towards what are the major achievements, what are the financial projects we want to carry through, and then agree how much we're going to spend that year. If there's any major issue that is outside the family that needs our attention and needs our finances, we agree on those. As a matter of fact, we never do any major projects or supporting anyone without being in agreement in that regard. And so that's really helpful because it also holds us accountable. We know where the money, how the money is coming in, how the money is being spent. And also we have a bit of what we call vanity kitty. And of course, it's grown depending on how God has enabled us to make money. So over the years, that's been changing. There's what's my vanity kitty, where I can decide to go, do gully things that are not like really sensible to the family, that are sensible to me. And Keith can spend his vanity kitty, whichever you want to do, whether you want to give it away or, we have that which we feel like there's something that you can do something on the side by yourself. But essentially, we just have that openness. And what it's done for us is that it just gives us that openness, that trust, and just budgeting together, sitting together. It keeps bringing you together. So it's a nice thing. You feel part of this team as a couple.
The whole idea that your marriage is your project.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is our project. This is whom we are. And so I love what we do at the end of every year. It's actually like a business meeting. So we sit down and we look at how the previous year has been, what opportunities we've had, the things we had said we are going to do, did we do them? What were the challenges? Where are we financially? And then we look at the year ahead. And then, because there's some entrepreneurial gigs that Esigal runs, there's some businesses that I run. So we look at both and say, so what opportunities do you see ahead in your business? What are some of the aspects that you want maybe to invest in? And then I look at things the same way. So we kind of agree for this coming year, where is our priority going to be? Where should we put our money from an investment standpoint, from a business standpoint? And then from a blessing standpoint, we both believe in being generous. We mentioned on our first podcast that we really believe that God is our source.
Yes.
So it's not our great brains or wisdom that has enabled us to make resources. We believe God is our source. So he blesses us in many ways. The scriptures say that is the law that teaches us how to profit. Mm-hmm. So our source is God. And so all we have is ultimately his. We just stewards of those resources. And so we believe if we spend all the money on ourselves, we are missing the point that we are stewards of these resources. So we agree on causes to give towards, people to bless. Mm-hmm. We agree together as a couple. So that meeting at the end of the year is so crucial, and I would encourage other couples to think of doing the same. You can imagine many of you are maybe in the corporate world or you run your businesses. You take things very seriously. Yeah, like you do quarterly reviews. You know where you're going as a business. Do you know where you're going as a marriage, as a family? So it's really critical to do that. Then as the year begins and we are going along, if there are any major issues that come, because sometimes life happens.
Emergencies.
Yeah, life happens. There are things that have to change. We again talk about it and agree. Esther is a very organized person. So she's the more she likes to save. She likes to save.
He's a spendthrift.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, if there is money, let us use it. Yeah, to kule pesa.
But we've struck a balance over time.
Yes. So you can see inherent possibilities of conflict, and that's why we believe it's important to discuss. And I think God's put people together who are very different in that way, so that you balance out each other, you help each other, so that she doesn't save everything and I don't spend everything. We kind of get a sweet spot somewhere. Then we can be able to do marriage that way.
And I think the other point when it comes to money is in-laws. We must admit that we're in the African culture, and as a couple, you're not just one. You're that unit, but then you're related to other people, and needs arise in the extended family. And even when there are not needs, I mean, like you say, it's just good to bless these families that we come from. And so how we handle it in our case is that we do not allow our families to get money through us directly. Like, what I mean is that if my family has issues or they need any resources or we want to give to them, Keith is one who does that, and vice versa. And that makes it easy, even for them, in just creating that boundary. They know that there's no secret between us. So they know there's no resource they are getting from me. Let's say it's my family that Keith does not know about, because you do not want to bring anything that would be a wedge between you, and you don't want to break that trust. I mean, you can still give petty cash here and there, okay, 200 to your siblings and all that, but as much as possible, when it's any major expenditure that is beyond petty cash and that kind of stuff, we try to ensure that we crisscross in terms of the families we are supporting.
Fantastic. The other aspect that is good to discuss is investments, how to build resources as a couple. And there's a scripture I really love that says, where there is unity, God commands a blessing. So when you are one as a family,
yes,
you actually make more, because everything that you put together now receives that unique blessing from God. There are certain ideas that I had at the beginning when we wanted to invest, and Esther was not for it. Esigal would tell me, I don't know. And, I felt as the man, I still must go ahead and do this. That ego,
Sisters, God taught him humility.
Yeah, and those businesses never did well. Like they all collapsed. So
and I didn't celebrate.
Yeah,
brother learned the lesson. And
yeah, she didn't say I told you so. But we've realized, when you come together and agree on investment as a unit, God actually commands his blessings. And that is the way in which you grow financially as a couple. It is important to invest for your sake, for the relationship, and even for your children and your grandchildren.
Yes.
The scriptures say a wise man leaves inheritance for his grandchildren. I like telling my children that I'm not leaving it for you. I'm leaving it for the yeah. But when you're together, that is how you're able to really invest and make a lot of resources to be able to bless the family and beyond.
And really, a couple is a force to reckon with. If you handle your resources well, and God blesses your resources, you're going to expand. And so when you work together, you're going to go further financially.
Yeah, so we'll end by the same question. Is your money married?
Is your money married?
The way you're handling your resources, does it show that your money is married or not? Thanks, guys. See you next time.
See you.